Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Devo with Bo 9/11 right now, and it's February 8th. And let me just adjust that camera a little bit. Anyway, hope you're doing well. We're going to be in Proverbs chapter 13 today. And my name's Bo, and you could always go to the archives of these devotions at my YouTube channel, which I do stream live there too. So you can always go to YouTube, Bo, and I'm there. And that's where kind of all the archives of the program are on. So check that out. I go through my devotions just through the Bible, pretty simply, kind of not too crazy in depth, but just pulling out good stuff for the day, kind of thing. So Proverbs 13 is where we're at now. This is wisdom literature. It's super cool. It's a parent to a kid, or to I would say a young adult, kind of giving wisdom. And when I say young adult, you probably think like 20 or something, but I'm thinking maybe it's like a teenager, but it's really good principles, general principles. Some of them are very general, kind of the idea of blessing and cursing, and but the idea is there's a right and there's a wrong, and how principles to live by. And that's the great thing about wisdom literature. It should kind of spark something in us to go like, hey, am I doing the right thing? What could I be doing better? What is the best thing to do in this situation? You can always go to the Proverbs and start reading them, and you can find some good gems there. That's for sure. So if you don't know what to do, get into the Proverbs and start reading. that'll help you. So let's get into chapter 13. It's always exciting just to open up the Bible. I love paper Bibles myself. I'm not a big phone Bible person, but I know the younger generation, they love looking at their phones. So if you got it on your phone, great. I'm reading from the New Living Translation in my devotion simply because it is a kind of a very plain reading of the text. Meaning it's super simple, kind of lays it out in really simple understanding. So it's not quite maybe like a word-for-word translation of the Bible, but they try to bring out the meaning the best they can. So this is: a wise child accepts a parent's discipline. A mocker refuses to listen to correction. So this is a theme that we've seen throughout this wisdom literature, and that's one of just receiving correction, being okay with being corrected. Hey, you're a kid out there, get used to some correction. It's good for you, right? It's good for me. Now, when I was young, I didn't want to hear that, man. I rebelled from that kind of thing. What? No way. And what's interesting is I even fashioned a God in my own image. Isn't that funny? Like, I didn't like correction so much that I ended up just like creating a deity that was like me. So if someone asked me about my God was like, in my brain, a big version of Bo. It's just, well, my God would never do that. My God would never, oh, my God. Well, my God was just some imagination persons who kind of I projected in my, out there, it was my own inner projection. I didn't want my God to be different from me because I didn't want my God to discipline me and to say what you're doing is wrong. That's what we call idolatry, and that's narcissistic, And, when I hear the term, "Are you a narcissist?" sometimes I go, gosh, man, yeah, that's why I need Jesus, right? I need the God who is truly outside of me, to do a work inside of me. If that makes sense. I can't have inside of me do a work for inside of me. That isn't going to do so good, right? So it says, wise words will win you a good meal, but treacherous people have an appetite for violence. Okay, so, watch what you say, right? It'll have a benefit if you be careful with your tongue. But there is people that are just constantly using their words for violence, right? To really get over on people, to get at people. And so, how is your tongue again? So these themes have been kind of rip-roaring through the Proverbs. We've really got into them quite a bit. Those who control their tongue will have a long life. Opening your mouth can ruin everything. Man. Wow. It sounds like a major consequence, right? For just continually opening your mouth on a situation. Man, put it to rest. Maybe that's what I get out of that verse. Just put it to rest. Say what you need to say and then let it be done. Rest. Don't keep just at it. Don't keep opening up your mouth. Don't keep saying the same thing over and over. Let it go. Because you can bring a ruin to everything. It says, lazy people want much but get little, but those who work hard will prosper. So again, the idea of laziness is brought up again. The godly hate lies, the wicked cause shame and disgrace. It's a good question for me this morning. Do I hate, and for you, right? Do you hate lies? That's something even to think about a little more. Do I hate lies? Sometimes we think like, hey, maybe I shouldn't hate anything. But we learned from the Psalms that it's okay to hate evil. And it actually is a good thing to hate evil. And so sometimes, we grow up and we might hear like, hey, never, don't hate. Well, no, there's something to have a strong disdain for what we call hate. And that and when you use the word hate, it's almost like a all-encompassing, meaning no matter what situation, it's wrong, right? When you hate lying, you almost get that idea. So it's something to think about, in your life. Do I hate lying? Or do you just dislike it? Is there more of a stronger hate towards it? Because it really brings up the idea of honesty in our life. When you start talking about lying, you start talking about honesty. So anyway, hey, I do want to say hi to everybody in the comment corner. Laura, Tina, Casey, Craig, Paula, what's happening? Hope you guys are doing well. And hopefully we got some folk over on YouTube as well. And so let's look. It says, verse 6, godliness guards the path of the blameless, but the evil are misled by sin. Godliness guards the path of the blameless. Godliness guards, almost like a protection, right? But evil are misled by sin. You get the idea of just being on a path and getting misled, right? Getting enticed, going different directions, right? And it says godliness guards the path of the blameless. Walking in that godly way, staying on that path, right? It says the rich can pay a ransom. Or wait, I missed one. Where did I miss? Verse 7. For those who are poor pretend to be rich. Others who are rich pretend to be poor. So that's just a kind of general kind of idea, right? Some who are poor pretend to be rich. Yeah, that's true. There are those people, huh? Do you remember pretending when you were younger? There's so many things that you pretend. I remember getting my tennis racket out, kind of putting it like a guitar and pretending I was in a band. And that was so fun, right? You put on a song and you kind of, rock out in your living room and you think you're in a big band and you got your tennis racket and you're kind of making like you're playing the guitar. But some people, it becomes really serious how they pretend. Wearing a mask, wanting people to see them a certain way when you're really not that way. And now it starts really cutting to the heart of us adults. How do I pretend? How am I pretending? Do I want people to see me a certain way when I'm really not that way? I'm really a different way. And that's where you start kind of going, wow. Maybe there's a lot of fear in me as to how I want people, or what I'm afraid of people knowing about me. And that's why I put on a front or a pretense, right? And have you ever met people that it seems like it's a show? It seems like it's a pretense. It's just the outward. Have you ever seen that in yourself? And it's good to not be that pretender, right? Keeping it real. That's what I think of, in my generation, just to keep it real. Hey, this is who I am right now. And I'm not always going to be like this, but this is where I'm at right now, kind of thing. And it's kind of interesting, but all of us struggle in similar ways. The Bible tells us that, right? We all stumble in many ways. Jesus' half-brother said that in James. And then Paul, of course, says that, all sin is common to human beings. It's normal. It's what we all do. Whether it's eating, whether it's our sexual behavior, whether it's the way we talk, right? The way we act, just walk. Those are all areas that we find failures in, right? And so, yeah, it's not shocking. It shouldn't be shocking when we get honest, right? But a lot of times we're pretending. So I kind of hone in on that one a little bit. It says, the rich can pay a ransom for their lives, but the poor won't even get threatened. That's interesting. The rich can pay a ransom for their lives, right? But the poor won't even get threatened. Wow, that's interesting. Meaning maybe people don't see them like someone who's poor is worth anything, right? But the rich have this, option if, they can pay their way out of something. The ransom, buy out of, get out, you get out of slavery, you have that resource. But it says the poor aren't even threatened. Hey, what am I going to go steal from that person? So that's kind of interesting, It says the life of the godly is full of light and joy, but the light of the wicked will be snuffed out. So you see these proverbs sometimes that just talk about godliness and, wickedness, and they kind of have this general flow, right? Life of the godly is full of light and joy. What else did we read? Oh yeah, godliness guards the path of the blameless, but the light of the wicked will be snuffed out. The wicked cause shame and disgrace. So you see that kind of, parallel of godly, wicked, right? Light, dark, kind of thing. It says pride leads to conflict. Those who take advice are wise. That's a good one. Good application one, right? What's my pride like? Does it lead to conflict? Does it continue to push? Does my pride continue to push? Do I take good advice? Am I searching for good advice? Those are good things, to think about. Pride. Wealth from get-rich schemes quickly disappears. Wealth from hard work grows over time. Young people, remember this one, right? You always tell someone, hey, put money into an IRA, and then over the years it'll build up, right? And then they don't do that, right? So, and then, they get older and they go, what did I do? Well, you tried to make quick money. And, haven't most of us done this where we've kind of botched it somewhere financially? Didn't use our money very wisely. And maybe we got involved in something that, man, really, really, just lost some money at it. And we go, man, I was so excited. I thought for sure I'd make $1 billion, like right off the bat. But you didn't. Instead, you lost, quick, schemes to get money. And then there's just this old-fashioned hard work, right? Just going to work, going daily, just grinding it out, but moving up, in a sense, the ladder because of your consistent hard work. Maybe your honesty, integrity at work, and it leads you up the ladder, and you just keep making more money, and you're doing the right thing, right? You're paying off things. You're able to save a little more as you get older. These kind of things happen. I see kind of I can look back now that I'm in my 50s, and I see kind of those progressions of kind of where you were in your 20s and 30s and 40s. Wow. And now I'm in my 50s. So it says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a dream fulfilled is a tree of life. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. Right? You're hoping for something, but it doesn't happen, right? It's deferred at a later time. Can make the heart sick, but a dream fulfilled, woo, that's a tree of life. It's beautiful when you see the fruit of things, right? When that hope becomes a reality, and it's right there, you see it. I think of the hardworking farmer as first to partake of the crop passage in the book of Timothy. I love that passage. The hardworking farmer is first to partake of the crop. It's great to see, what you hope for right there. I mean, it really blesses you, right? When you see the fruit of your labor, and it's not deferred. It's not way down the road, right? But you see the fruit of it. It's almost like that investment, right? When you start seeing the fruit of the investment, right, in your money, and you start seeing that dividend, and what it's doing to that money, you kind of go, whoa, man, that's cool. I'm making money this way. And it's kind of a neat idea, feeling. You kind of trip out like, wow, that's cool. There's something happening, there's a hope of financial gain, in my story, there's a hope of financial gain, and you start seeing it, right? You see it monthly or something, and that's really cool. But hope deferred can make the heart sick, right? That waiting. People who despise advice are asking for trouble. Those who respect a command will succeed. So again, listening, paying attention. The instruction of the wise is like a life-giving fountain. Those who accept it avoid the snares of death. Again, receiving instruction, listening, paying attention. A person with good sense is respected. A treacherous person is headed for destruction. Having good sense, thinking through things, right? But a treacherous person, one who deals roughly, brashly, harshly, right, is headed for destruction. Wise people think before they act. Fools don't. They even brag about their foolishness, right? Just being impatient, just going, right? Oh, I got to do that, right? And then something explodes, right? You've kind of done that before, right? What was that comment, Craig? I cannot believe you are in your 50s. The camera, what does it say? De-ages you? Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm in my 50s. I'm an old guy. Okay, so, yeah, being patient, not being quick, right? A wise person thinks before they act. Think a little bit before I do this. Let's think a little bit, get some advice. That's what this chapter is telling us. Think, get some advice, pay attention, take the correction, right? Stay on the path, right, of the godly, right? That kind of idea. It says, an unreliable messenger stumbles into trouble, but a reliable messenger brings healing. So true. What kind of messenger am I? Am I a reliable messenger? Or am I a unreliable messenger? Right? Am I bringing really the truth when I say, hey, this is what happened? This is what this person did. Is it really true? Am I really bringing a message that's going to bring healing to people? What you say, is it really healing people? When I talk to my brother, whoever it is what I'm talking about good for his soul, good for his heart? Or am I gossiping in a way that I'm tearing down the person that I'm talking to? Meaning I'm actually talking about someone else, but it's tearing down the soul of the person I'm talking to. So my brother walks away from me, and he's not built up, he's tore down. Man, so many warnings like that. What kind of messenger are you? If you ignore criticism, you will end in poverty and disgrace. If you ignore criticism, maybe I need to get criticized. Maybe I need to be scrutinized a little bit, right? And it says, because if you ignore it, your end will be in poverty and disgrace. If you accept correction, you will be honored. So maybe there is a time where I need to look at everything and really pay attention to what someone is saying. So it's easy sometimes when someone's criticizing just to move away instead of look into the soul and say, hey, search me, O Lord. There's a reason you've brought this up. It is pleasant to see dreams come true, but fools refuse to turn from evil to attain them. Man, it's like your dream can be there, but there's always these roadblocks, right, to hinder your dreams. And that's a good word for especially, you think of the young, right? It says so many dreams out there, so many people have dreams, but what do? They keep walking in a certain way, and it really prevents them from moving forward in really their dream. I think of the dream to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. The dream, what's hindered? What can hinder me from doing that? What are the roadblocks? So it's good stuff to think about. It says, walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with fools and get in trouble. Sounds like water seeps to its own level. That's what I always remember hearing, I think from my old man. He would say that, hey, Bo, water seeps to its own level. Meaning you're going to hang out with a bunch of druggies like you do, stoners and graffiti dudes, and, you're going to be just like that. But you got to look at who you're hanging out with. It's funny, when I hung out with guitar players growing up, I became an amazing guitar player, very good, and it catapulted me into just an amazing life of playing music and competitions and all kinds of stuff, which was amazing, and meeting so many cool people. I think of the amazing people that I've met, just wonderful. Scott Tennant, William Cannengeiser, Julian Bream, Christopher Parkening, Elliot Fisk, Carlos Barbosa Lima, Lorendo Almeida. So many good players. And I think of all that and I go, wow, that's, when I hung out in that crew, man, when I hung back out and just in the when I went to my crew back in the where I'm from, I got right back into bad living, and it destroyed everything. I mean, it really tanked me. And so I really can relate to this, and it's the typical story of a lot of us, right? We associate with fools and we just get into trouble. It's amazing, right? You're playing guitar with amazing people, and then you look at another month of your life, which is very close to that time, and you're running from the police or something. I mean, it's just unbelievable. You're handcuffed on a curb. I mean, just really, my life has been super weird like that. So, just really trippy. And thanks for your guys' comments, man, and the encouragement. Thanks, Craig. So, associate with fools and get in trouble. Look at who you're hanging out with. No doubt. Trouble chases sinners while blessings reward the righteous. Oh, so true. It's right behind you. It's going to catch up. Good people leave an inheritance to their grandchildren, but the sinner's wealth passes to the godly. Good people leave an inheritance to their grandchildren, but the sinner's wealth passes to the what? To the godly. Sounds like they're not prepared. The sinners are not prepared for their passing, so they don't have things in place, right? But the godly person is thinking about, hey, what do I do with my wealth? Where does that go? Can I help out someone? Can I help out my family? Can I help out my church? Can I help out whatever it is? That kind of thing. The sinner, though, they're not even caring. Whatever, I die, and it just goes to whatever. Goes to the state. To the state. Conformity. The state. Sounds like a Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone. Remember this, guys? This is my Christmas gift, the Twilight Zone. Oh, I love it. That's my Twilight Zone cup. So it says, that's a great one, verse 22. Good one for all of us out there to prepare for our passing and move our wealth into the right spot. A poor person's farm may produce much food, but injustice sweeps it all away. Poor person's farm produces much food, right? But injustice sweeps it all away. Injustice. So true. And then that poor person doesn't have the resources to what? Probably fight it. And do we see that injustice in the world? Yeah. So many times, you don't have the money, the wherewithal to deal with the injustices. You can't sue anybody because you don't have the finances for that lawyer. How many of us fall into that camp, right? Those who spare the rod of discipline hate their children. Those who love their children care enough to discipline them. Hey, spare the rod, spoil the child. Haven't you heard that one before? Well, here we go. Proverbs 13:24. Spare the rod of discipline. It says, those who spare the rod of discipline hate their children. Now, this is the idea, is again, the Proverbs are giving us kind of these principles, laziness, not disciplining, right? It's easy to just sit on a couch and eat Cheetos watching a ball game instead of getting up and disciplining your kid, dealing with situations, right? The emphasis isn't on the rod. That's not what the emphasis is on. Some people have made the emphasis the rod. Man, get out your belt. Crack that whip. You know what I mean? That's like, they're so excited to do it. They're like, oh, where's that belt? They can't wait to find it. It's great. I mean, the Bible says the rod. It's like, God's rod and staff, they comfort us, right? Remember, the Lord is our shepherd. That Psalm 23. Yeah, but the emphasis isn't on, it's on the idea of God comforting us. I mean, it talks about God's rod and his staff, but the idea is on the character of God. So think of the proverb when it's talking about the rod of correction. The emphasis isn't on the rod. It's on the getting up and doing something about your child, to help your child, to correct your child. You need to be invested. Hopefully that makes some sense. I joke with that because some people really get into the emphasis being the rod, and that's not the push of the wisdom, right? The push of the wisdom is on what? The disciplining them, right? To care about them enough to do something in their life, right? Discipline takes time. To organize a classroom or anything, right? To organize it takes time. You have to put things together. You have to organize thoughts. You have to be able to implement what you're doing, what the law is of the classroom. And implementing that is there's a disciplinary feature. And that takes time, right? For a teacher to discipline the child. To say, no, Johnny, that's not it. That takes time. Instead, like, I've been in classrooms before where it's chaos, man. You just go in and the kids are doing whatever they're doing, right? That doesn't take much effort for a teacher to sit in there. But to discipline, that takes time. So the godly eat to their heart's content, but the belly of the wicked goes hungry. So true. The belly of the wicked goes hungry. Now, obviously, these are general principles. It's not like something to be taken all the way through and through. So, if you read Psalm 73, like we did a while back, we read that the wicked are eating happily. They're enjoying their meals. They're having a great time. And that's the frustration of the psalmist, is that he's bummed that the wicked, man, prosper so much. But here the proverb to this child, to the teenager, is the godly eat to their heart's content, but the belly of the wicked goes hungry. What is he already trying to get through to his son? It's the idea of don't be lazy, right? The idea of don't be lazy. So the proverb is just an extension of that kind of principle of, hey, the wicked's belly goes hungry. They're lazy. They don't want to take advice, right? They don't want to pay attention. That's the idea. You can't just isolate this passage and make it your doctrine, where, if you're wicked, you go hungry. So, hey, everybody who is full is obviously righteous, and everybody who's starving is actually not righteous. No, that's not what it's talking about. We got to look at the overall principles that are being taught here. Does this fit into one of them? Yes, it certainly does. The godly are those that are working hard. They're paying attention. They're walking on the right path. And they find a fullness in their life. But the wicked, they have an emptiness in their life. Now that starts making more sense, right? Those in Christ find fullness. Those without Christ find what? Emptiness. They need to fulfill something. They need to find something or someone to complete them. But those that are walking with the Lord, man, we are full. Jesus says, come to me all who are heavy burdened, right? And I will help you, right? I will be with you. Jesus says, out of you will flow rivers of living water, right? Oh man, I'll fill you full. You will have peace. You will have serenity. Your sins are forgiven. You are cleansed of your sin. You are in the family of God. So very cool. Anyway, I kind of got into preacher mode there. Sorry about that. And you guys have a great day. I hope that was a wonderful proverb for you. That was Proverbs chapter 13. Talon, what's happening, brother? And I hope, let's see, what does Talon say? Talon says, my little pocket Bible says, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. Hey, that's right. So true. Yep, so discipline's good. So anyway, you guys have a great day, and it's always good being with you, hanging out with you for the morning. You guys take care. Bye-bye.